Welcome back to the Naked Garden, or in today's episode, the Naked Kitchen. Today we're going to pickle some cucumbers, so let me show you the ingredients, then we'll get into it. So these are our ingredients, obviously cucumbers. Got some herbs from the garden. I like to use thyme, some nice red chilies, echalot onions, some garlic, some mustard seeds, celery salt, some turmeric. I've got brown sugar, that's a personal tasting. You can use white sugar, whatever you want. Himalayan pink salt. Now make sure you get the fine grind on that, and 100% natural unrefined salt. You don't want any caking agents or anything like that, just 100% natural salt. A lot of people say use kosher salt, use pickling salt, as long as it's 100% pure salt. And we've got our vinegar. I'm using the apple cider vinegar, but that's a personal tasting as well. You can use white vinegar. Yeah, I just like the apple cider. So let's get into it and start chopping these bad boys up. Okay, I've put my chef's hat on now so we don't get grey hairs in the cucumbers. You want to slice them, 5 mil or so. Don't be too fussy. You get a couple of fat ones in there, a couple of thin ones. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so we had about 15 cucumbers there, and we've used 4 tablespoons of salt. Once you mix your salt through, grab a piece of baking paper, place it on top, place a plate on top of that, something heavy, give it a bit of a push, and that's got to go in the fridge for a minimum of 3 hours. So now that we've got 3 hours to spare, it's a good time to get the ingredients ready for the brine and the jars and the thunder. And that is why we're inside making pickles. So ready here for the brine, we've got 8 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds, 2 teaspoons of celery seeds, and half a teaspoon of turmeric. Okay, they've been in the fridge for about 3 hours now, or more than 3 hours, so we'll get them out and give them a rinse. All right. You can see how much water is coming out of them. So you want to rinse off all the excess salt, otherwise you're going to have extremely salty pickles. So I've got the jars on a baking tray. For proper sterilisation, you should make sure the jars are not touching. Pop them in the oven for 10 minutes on 180 degrees. So the jars are in the oven. The lids are boiling. Okay, so our brine is starting to simmer. So we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. Add to the brine, which is the vinegar water mixture. The spices that we got ready earlier, add those in. Okay, so once that's all mixed through, give that a good stir and go chop up your chilies. Okay, so we're just going to layer this up however you want. Put some chili, some garlic, the onions. Just make it up as you go. Okay, so they're all full. Leave your jars sort of 10 to 15 mil from the top and dry the threads thoroughly so that you get a good seal on the lids. So dry your lids really well and just put them on hand tight. Okay, so we've given them a decent hand tighten. Don't over tighten them. We'll let them sit on the bench for about an hour, get them down to room temperature, and we'll pop them in the fridge, and in about 7 days they'll be good to go. Now this pickle recipe is what's known as a fridge pickle, so it's got to be stored in the fridge. Don't store it in your cupboard. And it should keep, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, they keep for 2 months, 3 months. I've had them in my fridge for up to 10 months and they're still pretty good. They lose a little bit of crispness after probably 3 months, but they'll keep a long time.